Namaste dear children, I am Rekha. Welcome to my channel Rekha's Knowledge Hub. Today we will see NCERT Class 6 Science Chapter 10 Living Creatures Exploring Their Characteristics Part 2. Essential Conditions for Germination of a Seed. What do you mean by germination? Germination is a process by which a seed grows into a seedling. Have you observed a seed germinating? You might have wondered what conditions are required for germination of a seed. What are the essential conditions for germination of a seed? What conditions do you think are required for seed germination? To germinate, a seed needs water, air, warmth. Sometimes some seeds need light to germinate. How will you investigate whether these conditions have an effect on the germination of a seed? Let us find out by performing activity 10.2. Activity. Let us experiment. Take 4 identical pots filled with garden soil. Sow 4 bean seeds in each pot. Now, keep these pots in the following conditions for 15 days. So, take 4 identical pots. You fill the pots with the garden soil. Then sow 4 bean seeds in each pot. Then keep the pots in the following conditions for 15 days. We will see the conditions. Pot A. Do not water the soil. Place the pot in direct sunlight. So, pot A must be placed in direct sunlight, but do not water the soil. Then, what about pot B? Add excess water to the soil such that water is always present above the soil. Then keep adding water on a regular basis. If water reduces, place this pot in direct sunlight. So, next pot B. You place pot B also in direct sunlight, but add excess water to the soil such that water is always present above the soil. The next pot C. Keep the soil in this pot slightly moist by adding a moderate amount of water on a regular basis. Place the pot in a dark location. You must place pot C in a dark location. Then keep the soil in this pot slightly moist by adding moderate amount of water on a regular basis. The next pot D. Maintain the soil in this pot slightly moist by adding a moderate amount of water on a regular basis. Place this pot in direct sunlight. So, pot D must be placed in direct sunlight. Also, maintain the soil in this pot slightly moist by adding a moderate amount of water on a regular basis. See these pictures. Pot A. What about pot A? Kept in direct sunlight. See, direct sunlight. No water. But there is no water in the pot. The next pot B. Kept in direct sunlight. Here also see, there is sunlight. But excess water. Water is above the soil. Then pot C. Pot C kept in the dark with the moist soil. See, there is no sun, no sunlight. Then with moist soil. Next, pot D with moist soil kept in direct sunlight. See, here there is sunlight and the soil is also slightly moist. Indicate the availability of air, sunlight and water for the seeds in each of these cases in table 10.2. When a seed turns into a sprout, it is said to have germinated. So, when a seed is said to have germinated, when a seed turns into a sprout, it is said to have germinated. What is a sprout? A sprout is a young plant that has just begun to grow from a seed. It is the very first stage of a plant's life right after germination. Predict whether the seeds in each pot will germinate. Record your predictions for each pot kept under different conditions in table 10.2. Regularly observe the pots for 7 to 10 days to check the status of germination of the seeds. Record your observations. So after sowing the bean seeds, we have to observe the pots for 7 to 10 days to check the status of germination. Then compare your predictions with your observations. Do you think sunlight is necessary for germination of seeds? Do the seeds in all the pots receive air, water and sunlight? You have to check. Is there any pot in which air is not available to the seeds? If so, why is it not available? What happens to the seeds in the pot where water is provided in excess? So, what will happen to the seeds where water is provided in excess? Will it germinate? Which seeds receive both air and water? Identify the pots where you can notice the germination of seeds. Do your observations match with your predictions? Write possible reasons in favor of your observations in table 10.2. Based on your observations, state the conditions which favor seed germination. We will see the table now. Effect of certain conditions on seed germination. Pot with the bean seeds. We have 4 pots, pot A, pot B, pot C, pot D. Then availability of air, sunlight, water. Then seed germination, our prediction, observation. Then possible reason for the observation. See, first pot, pot A, in direct sunlight and without water. Then what about availability of air? Air is present, sunlight is there. Then what about water? No water, it is without water. Then what about seed germination? Will the seed germinate? No, our prediction is no. What is your observation? Observation also? No. What is the reason? Water is essential for germination. Water softens the seed coat and helps the tiny embryo inside it to develop into a plant. Then what about pot B? Indirect sunlight and excess water. See, availability of air? Yes, air is present, sunlight is present. Then water is also present but in excess quantity. Water is present above the soil. Then what about seed germination? What is your prediction? No, it will not germinate. Observation is also no. What is the possible reason? When the soil is waterlogged, the air spaces within the soil become filled with water, displacing the oxygen. So, air is essential for germination of seed. The next one, pot C, in complete dark and moist soil. Air is present? Yes. Then what about sunlight? No. There is no sunlight. It is kept in darkness. Then what about water? Water is also present because soil is moist. Then what about seed germination? Will the seed germinate? Yes. Prediction is yes. What about observation? Observation is also yes. What is the reason? Light is not always essential for germination. The next one, pot D, indirect sunlight and moist soil. Availability of air present. sunlight present, then water is also there. Then what about seed germination? Seed will germinate. Our prediction is yes. Observation is also yes. Then possible reason, all necessary conditions satisfied. Air, then water, all conditions satisfied. To germinate, a seed needs the right conditions. Water is essential, air is needed. Then each type of seed has an ideal temperature range for germination. Some seeds need light to germinate, while others germinate better in the dark. Which of the following are essential for seed germination? Air, water, and sunlight. So, which are the essential conditions for seed germination? Compare the available conditions in each pot. Germination of bean seeds requires the right amount of water and air. So, for germination of bean seeds, they require the right amount of water and air. Why do seeds require these conditions for germination? Do you think that the absence of one or more of these conditions will affect seed germination? Water is essential for seed germination. Why? Water is essential to activate the seed's enzymes and start the growth process. It also helps to break down the seed coat. Then what about air? Seed needs oxygen for respiration, which provides the energy for growth. So water and air are very essential for seed germination. Let us understand how these conditions help in seed germination. The effects of the following conditions have been seen in activity 10.2. First, we will see water. Seeds require water for germination. Water is essential for germination. Water enables the seeds to carry out the processes necessary for their growth. Why water is essential for germination? Water helps the seeds to carry out the processes necessary for their growth. The outer covering of the seed is called a seed coat. Water softens the seed coat and helps the tiny embryo inside it to develop into a plant. See this figure, germinated bean seed. See, there is a seed coat. The outer covering is a seed coat. Then inside you can see the embryo. This embryo develops into a plant. So, the outer covering of the seed is called seed coat. Water softens the seed coat and helps the tiny embryo inside it to develop into a plant. Next essential conditions are air and soil. Seed needs air for germination. Seed needs air for germination. Air is very essential. They use the air available in the spaces between soil particles. Moreover, spaces between the soil particles allow roots to grow easily. So, air is available in the spaces between soil particles. Seeds use this air. The spaces between the soil particles also allows roots to grow easily. The next one, light and or dark conditions. We have learned that for the bean seeds, presence of light is not essential for their germination. In general, most seeds do not require light for germination, but after germination, sunlight is required for further growth of the seedling. So, most seeds do not require light for germination, but after germination, sunlight is essential for further growth of the seedling. Some seeds of flowering plants like coleus and petunia require light to germinate. But some plants require light for their germination. Covering these seeds with the soil inhibits their sprouting. So, covering these seeds with soil will prevent or stop the seeds from germinating and growing into sprouts. Seeds of flowering plants like calendula and zinnia need darkness to germinate. These seeds should be covered with a sufficient soil. So, some plants need light to germinate, but some plants they need darkness to germinate. Coleus and petunia they require light to germinate, but some plants like calendula and zinnia they need darkness to germinate. So, these seeds should be covered with a sufficient soil. Growth and movement in plants. How do plants respond to sunlight? Does sunlight affect the direction of growth of different parts of plants? Yes, sunlight definitely affects the direction of growth in different parts of plants. In which direction would the root and shoot of a plant grow and move if the plant is placed inverted? Generally, shoots grow towards the light source and roots on the other hand generally grow away from the light source. What will happen if the plant is placed inverted? What about the direction the root and shoot of a plant will grow if the plant is placed inverted? How would you design an activity to find answers to these questions? Let us do an activity. Let us design. Take some bean or gram seeds and allow them to germinate on a moist cloth or a moist tissue paper. You take a moist cloth or a moist tissue paper and take some bean seeds or gram seeds and allow them to germinate on this cloth. Let them germinate until each of them develop into a seedling having a small root and a small shoot. Now take 3 glass beakers or tumblers and label them as A, B and C. Take 3 glass plates and attach a thick blotting paper to one side of each plate using a thick soft cotton thread. Then you take 3 glass plates and attach a thick blotting paper to one side of each plate using a thick soft cotton thread. Then fix one seedling on each plate using a thick soft cotton thread, ensuring that the plant is not damaged. Then you fix one seedling on each plate using a thick soft cotton thread, ensuring that the plant is not damaged. Now place one glass plate upright with a seedling attached into each of the beaker A and beaker C. Then you take beaker A and beaker C. Then place one glass plate upright with a seedling attached into each of these plates. In beaker B, arrange the plate such that the shoot of a seedling is directed downwards and the root is directed upwards. In beaker B, you must arrange the plate in such a way that the shoot of the seedling is directed downwards and the root is directed upwards. Setup showing plants kept in different conditions. See the first one here. Upright plant kept in sunlight from all directions. See this plant? This is kept upright. This will receive sunlight from all directions. See the next one. This is an inverted plant kept in sunlight from all directions. Here the plant is kept inverted. It will receive sunlight from all directions. And see the next one. Here there is an upright plant kept in sunlight from one direction only. See this plant, it is upright, but it is kept in sunlight from one direction only. It is kept inside a box You can see a hole on the back side of the box. This is the inner view of the box. Pour water into all the 3 beakers to ensure that the seedling in each beaker remains above the water level. Pour water into all the 3 beakers, but we must make sure that the seedling in each beaker must remain above the water level. In each case, let the bottom of the blotting paper get completely wet by soaking in the water. In this way, the seedling will get the moisture from the wet blotting paper. The blotting paper must be soaked in the water. Then only the seedling will get moisture from this wet blotting paper. Place beaker A and beaker B in sunlight. In beaker A, the plant is kept upright. In beaker B, the plant is kept inverted. Position beaker C as shown in figure 10.2c. Place a cardboard box in such a way that the seedling gets light from one direction only through a small circular hole. You have seen the picture. Then fill table with your predictions and observations. There is a table showing the growth of root and shoot under different conditions. We have 3 beakers A, B, C, then direction of sunlight, direction of plant, direction of growth of root and shoot, our predictions and observations. Beaker A, direction of sunlight, the plant will receive sunlight from all directions. Then what about the direction of plant? The plant is kept upright. Then direction of growth of shoot, grows upwards. Then what about root? It grows downwards. Then in beaker B, direction of sunlight, all directions. Then what about direction of plant? The plant is kept inverted. Then what about direction of growth of shoot? It bends and grows upwards. Then what about root? It bends and grows downwards. Then in beaker C, what about direction of sunlight? Receive sunlight from only one direction. Then what about the direction of plant? It is kept upright. Then direction of growth of shoot grows towards light. Then what about root? Grows downwards. What is the direction of growth of root and shoot in beakers A, B and C based on your observations? Do your predictions match your observations? What do you conclude from this activity? From the results of this experiment, we note that when the plant is kept upright, the root grows downwards and the shoot grows upwards. So when you kept the plant upright, the root grows downwards and the shoot grows upwards. See this picture. The root grows downwards and the shoot grows upwards. The next one, when the plant is kept inverted like this, what will happen? The root bends and grows downwards. Also, the shoot bends and grows upwards. So, when you kept the plant inverted, then the root bends and grows downwards. Shoot bends and grows upwards. When the plant gets sunlight only from one direction, like this. In this picture, you can see this plant is kept inside a cardboard box and the plant is kept upright. So, when the plant gets sunlight only from one direction, the shoot grows in the direction of light while the root continues to grow downwards. The root continues to grow downwards and the shoot grows in the direction of light. After conducting activity 10.3, we can conclude that shoots of plants grow upward and exhibit movement towards sunlight. But roots of plants grow downwards. Roots grow downwards, shoots grow upward and exhibit movement towards sunlight. Now, a scientist, Jagadish Chandra Bose, was an Indian scientist who did some fascinating experiments with the plants. He built a machine called a criscograph to record how plants respond to stimuli like light, heat, electricity, and gravity. With this machine, he could measure how fast plants grow. He also showed that plants can sense and respond to stimuli. Jagadish Chandra Bose was an Indian scientist. He had done so many fascinating experiments with the plants. He built a machine called a criscograph. This machine can record how plants respond to stimuli like light, heat, electricity, and gravity. With his machine, he could measure how fast plants grow. He also showed that plants can sense and respond to stimuli. Children, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. We will see you in the next video. Thank you.